Alright ladies, we're getting ready to start the Louis Vuitton cup tutorial. I'm just trying to, again, get my phone squared away so you guys can see me. I had this really great phone stand that I bought just for doing lives, and I think one of my children stole it because I can't find it anywhere. So we're trying to just makeshift as best we can here with this crappy, crazy one that I have. So just bear with me. We'll start in a few minutes. I kind of like to give everybody a few minutes to sign on and, you know, get here and get situated. So bear with me about 5 minutes or so, and we'll be set up and about ready to start. And then we'll be good. Trying to figure out where to put you guys so you can see me. Whoa, my apologies. If you're just signing on, we're just waiting a couple minutes. I'm still trying to get my phone stand situated because we just had to move it. We were in the other room doing the Louis Vuitton decal tutorial, and now we're in my art room where we were going to do the tutorial. And I'm just trying to get everything repositioned so that you guys can see me and what I'm doing. So it'll just be a couple of minutes, and trying to give everybody a chance to sign on anyhow. So we'll be ready to go in just a few minutes. I don't know which one of my kids took my phone stand, but I'm gonna tell you what. Okay, actually that might be good right there. If you're just signing on, just a couple minutes, getting situated here and giving everybody a chance to sign on. There was a good handful of people who were just with me on a different tutorial, learning how to cut out the decals for this cup and upload them into Design Space. I know some of them are still cutting the last minute or so of their vinyl, and I had to move my whole everything from one room to another. So just a couple of minutes and we'll get started. And I see everybody popping on. I can't see who you are exactly because of the glare right now, but hello. Thank you for joining. Super excited you guys all wanted to come out and learn how to do this cup. I promise you it is way, way easier than it might look. So, another minute or two and we'll get started. For anybody who's trying to follow along, you need your cup that you should have primed and painted brown, and your gold cut Louis Vuitton decals, and your gold glitter, tape, pencil or dry erase marker, some type of glue like E6000, or I actually like this, the two-part epoxy glue. Just trying to read the comments. New Jersey, Maryland, nice. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm in Buffalo, New York, so I'm not too far from Jersey, handful of hours. Florida, I'm jealous, and Texas, I'm very jealous. It's so cold here right now. And it's not even winter yet. ladies, I will be right back, and then we will get started. The area a little better, and the lighting in my room in here is really just crappy. Okay. All right, ladies. I should say gentlemen too. I'm so used to saying ladies because I'm so used to it being mostly women that make cups. But you know what? I've seen some men pop up on the scene, and I kind of like that. I think it's cool that we got some men who are making cups, and I'm gonna sound like an ass because I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the gentleman that does, if you've ever seen, he does all airbrushing and painting. His stuff is just amazing. Okay, so I hope everybody signed on because we're about to get started to make the Louis Vuitton zipper cup. If you did not see the one I posted the other day, my apologies. I do not have one finished anymore to use as the example as we go because, to be honest, I'm selling them faster than I can make them. So for anybody who's learning to make this and you do sell your cups, I know not everybody does. I don't sell mine on my store online or anything because I know the whole infringement rights or whatever, but with friends and family, they're super popular. They've been huge for Christmas, so just to put that out there for you guys. And normally I'm way more prepared than this, but we just did back-to-back lives. Prior to this, I did the live on how to cut and upload the Louis Vuitton decals into Design Space and make your stickers. So that I posted to the group, and I will also post under my name on YouTube. so that you guys can refer back to that if you need it and you missed it. I've missed all of the comments that have come in so far, so I apologize if I seem like I'm ignoring anybody. I'm trying to scroll back just to make sure. I see in here somebody isn't feeling well, and I'm sorry to hear that. I hope this makes your being at home not feeling well any more comfortable. I know I would love to be home making cups than being at work every single day. Hello to everybody who signed on. I just saw a question about a zipper that I'm trying to catch. What kind of zipper did I use? Okay, so I'll show you in a minute, because before we start, I'm going to go through all of the stuff all the supplies and things that you need for this cup. And this lighting is not being very helpful. If you guys cannot see me well because it's too dark, let me know and I'll try to move this light. My art space is actually very tiny, and I have a lot of stuff fit in here. And so even trying to fit this light in here is difficult. Okay, so let's start, and I'll go through all of the things that you need for this cup. And I did post a list earlier when I posted about the live, the list of supplies, but I'll show everybody. This is just a 20-ounce Ranger cup that I primed white with flat paint, and you can use any kind. Mine isn't next to me, but I just use like the Krylon matte white paint. What epoxy do I use? I use FX actually. I just switched to FX about 6 months ago from Alumilite, which I used for years and years and years on all different projects. I'm glad I made the switch. I really like FX, and now I'm interested in trying the big rave over the Fox Rizzle, which I hear is the same as FX, made by the same people. But the one thing I noticed is it seems cheaper, so I might try that and just see what the rave's about. So we have our 20-ounce cup. You can do this with other sizes, 30-ounce. The layout would obviously be a little different because it's got the curves and it's larger. I don't do 30-ounce cups unless they're custom ordered. One, because I don't like the awkward shape, but two, because they're too large for my hands. So in all of my tutorials, unless it's requested differently, I will always be using a 20-ounce cup. Either Ozark or this is a Ranger. So we primed it white and I painted it brown. This one I found this Krylon leather color spray paint that is like something new that either my Walmart just got or they just came out with, because I had not seen it before. Prior to that, the one cup that I had posted, I just was using the Apple Barrel. I think I kept telling everybody folk art, but I'm a liar. It's Apple Barrel. In burnt umber matte acrylic paint. If you do or you did for this video to follow along, paint in acrylic paint, you always want to seal it with either Mod Podge or some type of clear sealer, because acrylic paint will scratch by itself. Where did I get my tumblers from? We got lucky down here in Buffalo for a brief minute. We had all of the Ozarks on clearance, as you saw a lot of people probably post. The same thing with the Ranger tumblers. We had the 2-packs that went on clearance I found a couple of them for as low as $4 for 2 cups. And so I'm now to the tail end of all of my clearance cups, which have lasted me just about all year because I really bought every single one I found. And now I'm actually looking for a stainless steel cup distributor because I need cups. So, but that's where I have gotten those from. Do I wash them, and would I recommend hand washing? As far as prepping goes, I always lightly sand all of my stainless cups and then wipe them down with alcohol prior to priming. If you mean do I recommend hand washing as far as when they're done, I send little cards with all of my cups that say they're not dishwasher safe. Don't leave them in a hot car. Don't soak them. Don't put them in the microwave. Because they are, just like I think all of the epoxies, they're not dishwasher safe. They're not scrub. You can scrub them and wash them good, but yes, they're always hand wash only. Lakeside collection for cups. I'm gonna try. I'm at this point taking recommendations for anywhere because I definitely need to find. I'm busy enough now where I need to find a wholesaler. And yes, Dan, I just recently found too. I've been looking through some of his stuff. I can get Ozark 20-ounce cups at my Walmart here for $6 a piece. So if the distributor, if it breaks down to cost more than $6 a cup after shipping, I don't purchase them because it's cheaper for me to go and buy the Ozarks right from Walmart. Unless I'm looking for something special, like a skinny or something outside of the basic Ozark shape. And I think that's what my biggest thing is I just haven't found any as cheap as I want them for a nice cup, because I don't want crap cups either. So I've heard of Save a Cup. I have not looked into them yet, so thank you for that, because I need to check them out as well. And Stainless Depot and the Hog cups I've heard great things about. So I have a list of places I really need to start talking to. Okay, so we have our cup. It's been sanded, wiped down with alcohol, primed with white paint, painted with the brown leather. The tutorial beforehand showed us how to, we learned how to make the decals. I apply mine in vertical strips. That seems to be the easiest for me. I've tried every other way, like doing them in larger strips, larger sections. Nothing worked. So yes, Kelly, let's make a cup. The other thing that I had put on the list was a zipper. I spray painted mine gold because I could not find a gold zipper. So this has been spray painted with Krylon's metallic gold spray paint. Brilliant Gold it's called, if you can't see it. I guess you could, if you paint it with like acrylic paint or you use anything other than spray paint, I would also clear seal it. And then we have some tape. I have blue tape and masking tape. Gold Recollections glitter and champagne. Hi Shakia. Bonnie, what do I use to sand my cups? I use 800 grit like auto sanding paper. I can't get in my drawer, but I go right into the auto section at Walmart. They have everything from, I think it's like 200 all the way to 2000 grit sandpaper, and I use like something really fine, 800 to 1000. I just lightly sand the whole thing, and then I wipe it down with rubbing alcohol. This zipper here, this is what it looked like when it came in the package. It's just a 7-inch basic sewing zipper that I got at Walmart in the sewing section. They literally cost $1 a piece. The zipper part is metal, but they're nothing fancy at all. You can use other sizes too. I get the smallest I can find because even with the 7-inch, we are going to end up trimming some of this off. So the smaller you can find them, the better, because you're just going to cut it anyways. And then some type of glue like E6000. I prefer this, the Loctite 2-part epoxy 5-minute glue. It's just what I like. It holds very well. It's literally like the super glue version of epoxy that we use on cups. Don't try to attempt to coat your cups with it. It won't turn out well. And I just say that because I know some people that have tried that. It doesn't work. Where do I get the design? I just Googled Louis Vuitton SVG in Google, and you'll see all different like wallpapers and stuff. They have a very simple, basic black and white Louis Vuitton pattern that shows up, and that's just what I use. I loaded it into Design Space, and I just did a live right before this that walked you through how to find it, upload it, and cut it into Design Space. And I did upload it right before I started this one, so it should be on there if you want to look that up. And if you search my name on YouTube, they will all be on YouTube as well. And you're very welcome, ladies. Okay, so we got our cup. And because I had such little time between lives, and I literally started the first live 10 minutes after I walked in the door from work, I have not completely weeded my vinyl yet. So bear with me. why I weed it a little bit so I can show you how it's applied. We'll need, oh yeah, and a marker or a pencil. This is a dry erase marker, or a pencil is the other thing that you will need. Give me 2 seconds, ladies, because I don't have my tweezers. Okay, so now for weeding, I actually discovered these. I actually bought my first pair of these off of Amazon for like $8, and then discovered that in the cosmetic section with the tweezers and stuff, Walmart also carries these, and I love them. They're tweezers, but they're also like these little tiny hooks on the end, and they're like the best weeding tool ever. Oh good, hi Connie, you made it. I remembered to tag you and I wasn't sure if you popped in for the first live, so I'm glad that you made it. Yes, design spaces for Cricut. I unfortunately have no experience with Silhouette yet, so I'm not really able to walk anybody through how to do this in Silhouette. However, it's not, the concept is the same if you can upload your picture. And we cropped it down and sliced it into these strips. And I don't know if the live that we just did a little while ago will, showing how to do these decals for this cup will be helpful to a Silhouette user, but you're welcome to look it up, or I can send it to you and see if the concept of how this was done helps you. Hi Victoria. Would this process work with fabric? Yeah, I can't see why it wouldn't. I mean, what kind of fabric do you mean? Like a Louis Vuitton fabric? Because if you have, and if you have some, please let me know where you got it from. If you have some Louis Vuitton fabric, you could, yes, literally wrap the cup in the fabric and still apply the zipper the same way, leaving the opening for the glitter, or just putting the zipper right over the fabric and glittering in that space, and it would work exactly the same, yes. So I'm just trying to weed this quickly so I can show you guys how these are applied. Like I said, I did 2 back-to-back lives tonight right in the door from work, so I did not get a chance to weed my vinyl. So if anybody did cut their vinyl to follow along, go ahead and start weeding some of your stuff, because that's what I have to do right now. And for those of you who are just watching, I apologize because I know this isn't the most exciting part, but if we don't do it, I can't show you how to make the cup. Everything from earlier, later. Yes, this live as well as the one that I just did from 7 to 7:45 on the decals will be posted on the beginner page, and it will also be posted under my name on YouTube, so that you guys can easily find them and refer back to them. I know each of the 2 tutorials that I've watched in the past, I usually have to watch them more than once, so. With the zipper, yeah, it can be done, and it honestly wouldn't be hard. What I would do is just wrap the cup in the fabric, glue your zipper, kind of, if you can see what I'm doing here, just glue your zipper in the V, which you'll learn how to do here in a little bit, and then just fill that space in with glitter, and you would get the exact same appearance by doing it with fabric that way. And I'm actually working on a Superman cup made out of like a real shirt with the Superman emblem in it, using the exact same concept. So this concept with the zipper, you could literally, you know, apply it to different things, just thinking outside the box. No, Connie, you didn't miss too much of this live. We just started, and I'm trying to weed some vinyl so that I can show you how I apply these decals to get them straight. which unfortunately with the other live I didn't have time to do prior. So I promise you didn't miss anything too exciting. And the other, like I said, the other live will be posted on cutting the decals. So I'm not going to put you guys through the torture of weeding and applying every single one of these strips, but I will do a couple to give you the concept, and then I can get to the zipper part, which is the fun part, and then show you guys how it's done without having to do the whole cup, because I know for those of you just watching, this is painful. Thank you, Paula. Yes, I am a Buffalo, New York resident, and whether I like it or not, I'm kind of obligated to be a Bills fan. I don't like to admit that to too many people, but they'll always have a place in my heart. Natasha, you had a hard time making the zipper stay. What were you using to glue it on? One of the reasons that I do choose to use this Loctite 2-part glue is because it's very strong and it dries very quickly. I do use E6000 too, but that's more for stuff that, I use it more for stuff that I would be like leaving overnight to dry. I don't generally use it for stuff that I need to set or dry quickly, or that I have to hold down for a long period of time, because you know, glue like that, yes, your zipper is going to pop up, and or you're going to have to sit there and hold it. A glue gun. Yeah, unfortunately, hot glue is real funny. It doesn't stick to all surfaces, especially surfaces that are not very porous or kind of shiny. I've never been able to get hot glue to stick to like glossy spray paint or anything like that. E6000 would work. It would just, you'd have to find a way to hold it in place. A lot of times when I do, like, especially my 3D cups, I don't know how many of you saw my Hocus Pocus book cup that I did. That was kind of somewhat, I don't want to sound arrogant and say viral, but it was a big thing for a minute. When I'm like stuff like that, I'll use rubber bands to hold stuff in place so that it can set and dry. Okay, so I got this weeded. This is what each one of the strips looks like. Of each, there's 3. If you ever look at the Louis Vuitton design, it's got 3 of the same rows that are just repetitive. So you've got this with the LV and the diamonds. Then you've got these little stars, if you can see them, and then you got the little circles with the flowers. And I'm going to pull this one apart in a second. And it's just those same 3 rows repeated. And which is why when I broke the design down for it to be that simple, that's why I did it in strips like this, because it made it really easy to apply, but it also made it really easy to follow the pattern. The best glue to use for the zipper, in my preference, my opinion, is the Loctite 2-part, because it's super strong and it dries super quick, a couple of minutes. You can even find the Loctite 5-minute super glue that's not 2-part that'll work just as well. What you want to look for in a glue when you're gluing down anything like this on a cup is that it's strong and that it dries fast, so that you can get everything in place and it's not moving around while you're trying to get it to dry. What type of vinyl? Okay, so normally I'm a big 651 Oracle, whatever name they go by. I'm a big fan of their vinyl. For all of the other cups, the Louis Vuitton cups I did that I posted were all done with the Oracle 651 permanent vinyl. I ran out of that, so for this cup that I'm doing right now, this is just gold Cricut vinyl. My Walmart started carrying the basic vinyl rolls, like white, black, gold, silver, for like $5 a roll. So this is just basic Cricut gold vinyl. It's nothing fancy. All right, so I'm going to apply this one and then weed another one really quick so I can kind of show you guys how the pattern goes. I cut all of my strips like this, like I was showing you. I also, a long time ago, I stopped using transfer tape, the white or the clear like Cricut transfer paper. It's expensive. I used a lot of it and it didn't work any better for me than Like, I will go to Dollar Tree and use the clear contact paper. Or like right now, and for a long time now, I've been using masking tape from the Dollar Tree. You're very welcome, Stephanie. And for me, it works just as well. And it's just preference. I like to be as cost effective as I can because I like to keep the price of my cups low, but still make a little something for doing it. We can't sell cups for super expensive around here. Like, I sell this cup for about 30 bucks. And some people even kind of scoff at that, but some women are lucky and they live in areas where they can sell their cups for like 40, 50 bucks. That's just not here. Did I seal the cup? No. When I did it with the acrylic the first time, I do seal it with a clear sealer. Using the Krylon spray paint, glossy, it's paint plus primer and it's gloss. So I did not have to clear coat it using this right here. You still can if you want to. Because this is not permanent Oracle vinyl, I will suggest that if you're using just basic Cricut vinyl or something that's not permanent vinyl, I would seal after putting your vinyl decals on, because more times than not, basic vinyl underneath epoxy will lift. And it happens to me every single time I don't seal it. So if you're using basic vinyl, I would seal it with something, whether it's Mod Podge or a clear Krylon sealer, you know, whatever it is that you prefer to seal your cups with so that that vinyl stays down. Yes, you're right. People nowadays just ain't trying to spend the money for well handmade stuff, and every time I turn around, something that I hand make is being made and sold in stores at like $5 below. Like, it's just crazy to me. Now, when we cut these strips too, we did them at a 1/2 inch wide by 5.5 inches long. And then I duplicated it in Design Space and doubled it. So this whole thing is 10 inches. This is 2 strips right here. So only like half of this is going to go on the cup. Like, if you see the length, my cup is only about 7 inches tall. And I glitter the bottom of this. So I only go to this line, and then I will use an X-Acto knife to trim right there. So if it leaves half a decal, it leaves half a decal. That's how it's going to look. That's how I wanted it to look. So what I'll do is, once I have it taped, I'll just kind of measure about where it's going to go. And it looks like this right here is going to be my spot. So I'm just going to cut it. And then I have my masking tape on there. I'm just going to peel it like any other decal. And the big thing with I hear a lot of people say they struggle with transfer tapes and using whatever to transfer their vinyl. The trick for me that I found is you don't want to pull the tape off the white. You want to work this white backing off of your tape, whether it's transfer tape, masking tape, whatever you're using. With every single type of vinyl that I've used since I've been doing this, that has always been the trick. Work your white backing off of your vinyl. Don't try to pull the tape off the white, because you're going to lose your vinyl every single time. So you can see that my decal is on my tape, and I like to start from the back center. So meaning I'm going to start right here, and my zipper is going to end up on the absolute opposite side of that first row. And I work from the back forwards, and I'll show you why, like, once we get a couple more decals on. Because what I end up doing is I go about halfway from the back to the front where the zipper is going to be, and then I stop and I put my zipper on, and then I fill in. Because once you have your zipper, you're not going to use full decals or full rows. You're going to have to kind of fill in up into the edge of the zipper. So whatever your first row is that you put on is going to be the dead, it's like spine, let's say, of the back of your cup. Always make sure they're the right direction, because I've done that before too. And I don't have no scientific way of determining how I space these out. I eye everything. I've tried to do exact measurements and I can't do it. I eye all of my decals. So I start at the top rim. If you want yours to go all the way to the top, like this one will, you're going to start with your decal up at the very top towards the edge. And then I just kind of make sure that it's laying straight the best that I can. And then you just rub it down, you'll pull your masking tape up, and that'll be the start of your decals. And just pull carefully. You may have to go rub some of the vinyl down a little better as you go. And I just push everything down. And then you can see that's your first row, and you're going to work from there. I center, it's not so much that I center the vinyl on my center mark. I just kind of pick a spot, and this is going to end up being now the exact back of the cup that will lay opposite. Like if I go like this on this side of the cup, opposite of that is where my zipper will end up being centered. And what I end up doing is, because of how I have to fill in for the zipper, I will work from this out this way to where the zipper is going to be. I go about halfway. And then the other side, I do the same thing. You're backwards here. This side, I'll start here, and I'll work my way to the front to just about where I'm going to lay my zipper. I don't measure. I don't do any of that. I don't put marks down. I just eye my decals, and that's just kind of what I've gotten used to doing over the years. One thing I do suggest, just from experience, is make sure you're looking at the pattern too, because there's been a couple times that I like screwed the Louis Vuitton pattern up and had stuff in the wrong order, because it is these 3 designs in a specific order that makes up the patterns. And I'm about to pull this one. There's 2 on here, so it won't take as long. To make sure that, you know, all your pieces, there's 3 pieces that make up the design, that everything is in the right order. And I wish I had time to weed this stuff for you guys before we started, but that just wasn't the case, so bear with me. You're welcome, Joy. So you can see, I gotta weed the centers, but these are the other 2 pieces that make up our design, our little stars, and then the flowers with the little diamonds. And I will probably cut these apart to apply them. It's totally preference. This is just how I found it was easiest for me to get the best result. I've tried a couple other ways, and I couldn't get them straight. I couldn't get them even. This worked out to be the best for me. Oh, you're making one of these as well, Carla? I love seeing all the work that you guys post after doing, like when I did the fishing lure tutorial, like the very next day, I don't even think, not even, you guys were blasting me with these awesome cups. I don't know, I was super proud of all this great artwork coming out. I helped you guys make. And so I know if there's some people that don't like seeing the same stuff they're doing out there, but I love it. I love seeing all the stuff that you guys are making. And I mean, none of these are my original ideas, so like, I don't know, I love seeing, like, I've been watching a lot of people grow through this group through the last year that I've been around and like doing this. And it's just awesome to watch how people progress and like how much they learn, and like their work progress from what it was when like you first started. Like, it's awesome. Yeah, me too, Carla. I work full-time. My business is almost turned into a full-time job. And I supervise a program that runs 24 hours a day. So I'm always on call. And so it's like working overtime constantly. I don't really sleep much. We'll just say that. All right. Almost there, ladies. All right. Looks like most of the middles were picked out already by my Cricut machine. And we talked about that in the other live too. For whatever reason, on just the basic vinyl setting, anytime I'm cutting something this small, my machine chews it to shreds. I've discovered, like, if you're gonna cut this decal, if your machine does that as well, I started cutting small stuff like this on the washi tape setting. In the, like, if you turn the dial to your custom spot, and then it has you pick the material before you cut, all the way at the bottom, it's there's a washi tape setting, and that has cut little stuff for me perfect. And it took me forever to figure that out. Like, people told me I had to order a new blade, that I had to order this special blade for tiny stuff. No, all I had to do was change the setting. And it worked perfect. Hi, Tana. Carla, yes, I used just Dollar Tree masking tape for transferring my vinyl. I have not bought the clear transfer paper in a long time. It's expensive and I use too much of it. Okay. So now we have the other two pieces to our design. We did. And you could apply these in more than just single rows if you want to. It's just my preference. I do them singly. So I'm going to cut this in half. Yeah, I got my Cricut last year for Christmas, and I think I stared at it in the box for quite a while because I felt so overwhelmed with all the stuff you could do with it. I didn't even know where to start, and I accidentally found this tumbler thing here that we're doing. I bumped into one of Feather Bear's videos on YouTube, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing I had ever seen, because I'm a coffee addict. I have a ton of coffee cups and travel mugs and all of those things. And so I just thought this was like the coolest thing in the world. And that's kind of where it started. And the more of this stuff that I saw, the more like encouraged I was to play with the Cricut. And it didn't take long to learn. If you're new, like it's not as scary as it seems. So I just cut these in half, and I'm going to apply each one of them singularly. And that will give us the 3 pieces that we need for the pattern. And I'm going to do the same thing, put a piece of masking tape over it. And then I'm going to measure how far it needs to go. Keep in mind, if you're doing this, that these little stars go in between these 2 designs. And it's down lower than the other 2. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Because in the beginning, I kept like trying to want to line them up, not realizing that they kind of sit like staggered, I guess. Just something to be mindful of when you're doing it, so you're not frustrated because you just screwed up your whole entire pattern. So I'm just putting transfer tape, well, masking tape to transfer over the other design part. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure, because this one's going to go in between them. So I'm just going to measure where I want it to start, and I'm going to cut it. And you want it to end up higher and start lower than the top. So I'm going to trim it once I know about where I want. Vicky, you joined why are we using masking tape? I choose to use masking tape for transfer tape. It's just a preference. I stopped buying transfer tape, like the transfer paper from Cricut and stuff, a long time ago because it's expensive and I use a lot of it. For me, I found that Dollar Tree masking tape does exactly the same thing, and it's like $5 cheaper a roll. So it's just preference. You can use whatever you prefer when you're doing this and doing your decals. So, yeah, Faye, this is just to back up for a minute because we got some people popping on late. I transfer my vinyl decals using Dollar Tree masking tape. It's just something I've learned to love. I was sick of spending a ton of money on like Cricut transfer paper. You can also get the clear, oh, I just said it a little while ago. Now I can't think of the name. But you can get it at Dollar Tree too. It's clear, it comes in a roll, contact paper. And that works good too. I've just decided I like the Dollar Tree masking tape to transfer my vinyl. It's cheaper and I like it better. And I save about $5 a roll. But you can use whatever you like for this project. Alright, so I got my little stars. I'm going to stagger it with the like the design goes. And again, I just eye mine. I do not measure. I'm not good with measuring. I follow the line on the tape and I just kind of found my own way to do it. Is kind of where we're at with it. So I start the first one, I can kind of see it's centered where I want it. I just make sure that my tape is straight. I think I cut the wrong end off my thing because I can see our space when we cut it. The people who did the previous slide would know what I'm talking about, but I cut the wrong end of my, yeah, let's use this one real quick. The way that we cut our decals when we did the live previous to this, there was a space in between. There's two sets of, two sets of decal on the same sheet, and there was a space in between and I wasn't paying attention and I just started at the wrong end. Apparently, my new puppy also got my masking tape, so we're just all sorts of winging it right now. Okay. So all I did was just use the same design. It was just the other end of the row because there was an odd space in between there that I didn't want to show up on the cup. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Center in between where it should go. And sometimes if I feel like the spacing is starting to get wonky, I won't even lay the whole row down right away. I will just kind of piece it in. And because I'm doing this kind of quick for the sake of time, it's probably not going to be super perfect, but just to give you guys the idea of what I'm talking about. I just kind of want you guys to learn how to do this. This one doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, because this one will not be going out the door. Oh yeah, no problem, Angel. I love doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to take my time, but be quick at the same time, Eileen. I know that you guys are anxious to learn how to do this stuff, but also have other stuff to do too. So I'm not trying to take forever, but I'm also, I don't want to rush either because I want to make sure you guys are getting the information. Because really what's going to happen is you guys are going to do this and you guys are going to find your own ways of doing things, what you know works best for you. At least that's usually how it goes for me. So I just want you guys to get the concept. And it really is a lot easier than Like you look at the Louis Vuitton cup and it's like, oh my God, I could never do that. It's really not that hard, I promise. So I just pieced this in here to kind of give you an idea. But so I got my stars in. They're not straight. I totally am aware of that. They would be if this cup was going out the door. I just want to get on here so I can show you guys how they're applied, how I apply them. I'm going to do the same thing. Measure, cut. And now remembering that this is the part of the design where it sits higher than the diamond does. So you want them to stay taller than that middle row. And it looks like I'm about one short, so all I would do, if you can see how I need one more, I'll just clip off whatever the next one's supposed to be and place it in. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, I'm in Buffalo, New York, so I'm kind of obligated to be a Bills fan. Don't tell anybody, though. I don't know if you guys watch football, but that game the other night was just shameful. And see, so I just clipped one off and filled it in. Now, some of the things that I've seen people do for applying their decals, if they struggle with them being like perfectly spaced, you can use a dry erase marker to draw lines. I've seen people use little laser levels. It's just a matter of figuring out what works for you. I've seen some people do it in full sheets, and God bless you, because I could never do that. I've tried, it didn't work. So for the sake of time, this is where you started. Remember your first row, and always kind of keep in mind what row you started with, and we started filling this way, right? I would do and follow the Louis Vuitton pattern the way it's laid out. It goes just like that, the LV and the stars and then the flower, and then it would be another row of stars, and then you would repeat. You're going to start filling in the same way on this side, right? The same way we started to here, if that makes sense. Because our zipper, if you look like this at the cup, with the row that we started with right here, our zipper is going to fall exactly on the opposite side of the cup from that row. That is how I center my pattern as far as working it outwards and then getting the zipper on and filling it in so that everything looks kind of even. You're welcome, Angel. And you know what? I'm super guilty of promising a bunch of lives and then not doing it for a while because life got super crazy. And then my job got super crazy, and I have 3 boys who are 7, 12, and 16, and they're just crazy. So I definitely have been slacking in some of the promises I made you guys, and so I really wanted to do this. I have 3 of these to make that have to go out the door by the end of the week, and I thought, you know what? I might as well just do it because I don't want to keep telling you guys I'll do something for you, and then I don't. So, just to kind of revert back to topic where we were. Here's our center. We work out, here's our center. We work out to the sides, right? Till about halfway. So if you flip the cup over, I would say your halfway is like here, roughly here on the sides, right? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how to apply the zipper and what to do with that, and then how to fill in the sides. Because when you fill in the sides, you're going to apply just the decals the exact same way that you saw me apply these 3. If you're going to do it the way that I do it. I don't need to fill this whole cup to show you that. I want to get to the more important parts, which is the part with the zipper, the glitter, And then from there, I can just kind of explain to you how you're going to fill in the rest. So I won't leave out any information. I just don't need to make you sit through that painful process of watching me weed the rest of this vinyl and apply it. So, I have, it's not over here, and so I'm not going to use it, but I have like a little cup holder that I use when I'm doing stuff like this. You've seen people, I think some people are selling them. I just took a foam pool noodle and cut it in half so that the halves lay side by side like this, and I put popsicle sticks across the bottom, hot glued them, and I set my cup in that when I'm applying stuff like this. 1, so I don't scratch it, but 2, so it doesn't move. I'm not going to get up again and make you guys wait, but just as a thought, something like that and making stuff like this is helpful, because one of the things we're going to do, Lily, what are you scratching at? Is use a couple baby clamps, or you can use, honestly, whatever works for you. I use baby clamps to hold the top of the zipper in place, but then you want to be able to push down on it and hold it for a minute without scratching your cup. So, and if somebody says they want to see what I'm talking about, I will absolutely get up and grab it, but I just don't want to leave you guys hanging again if you don't care. So I'm going to find my first row, right? And you can take a marker and mark it if you want, just to kind of get an idea of where the other side is. And what I mean by that is if you look down the cup and find that first row, right? And you just kind of go this way and make a little mark to give you exactly where the opposite is. I look at the tops this way and just kind of that would be the center of the other side of my cup, directly across from, damn this lighting, there we go, directly across from that very first row that we did. It's just the way that I line my stuff up. Again, it's preference. It doesn't make or break the design of the cup. Now we get to start the fun part, which is figuring out where we're going to put the zipper. So I took a zipper and I spray painted it gold. For anybody that was late, I just used the basic Krylon, it's called Brilliant Gold spray paint, right? And I spray painted a basic $1 zipper that I got in the Walmart sewing section. 7 inches, the smaller the better, because we're going to clip some even off of this one. But it's just a basic old sewing zipper that literally cost me $1. Once you have it spray painted and it's dry, you're going to trim this fabric off. It will not come apart because if you look, the fabric goes across the zipper on the bottom. So it's going to stay in place. I had a couple of people ask me about that earlier, about how do you get the fabric off? The zipper will fall apart if you cut it. It does not. These ones at least do not. Maybe there's some that are. And what you're going to do is you're going to take scissors and you're going to trim as close to the zipper part as you can. So I will show you what I mean. I clip a little off the bottom, but I leave a little there just for right now. And then you're just going to take your scissors along the outside edge of the zipper part. Being careful not to cut your zipper. If you cut your zipper, it is going to come apart. We will trim some off. Can you guys see me? I'll show you in a second. But not just yet. So now you can see what I mean. How I just took this one side and I just trimmed that fabric off. So it's this metal part right here. I just trimmed along this outside line to get the fabric off. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. It's important that you do this before you try to mark where your zipper's going, because if you mark it with the fabric on and then you cut it off and try to place your zipper, it's not going to match up to where you wanted it. So there is, it would be easier to hold on to in place, yes, with the fabric on it, but where you want it is not going to match up if you try to measure it before you're cutting it and then cut it off and try to place it. So I leave a little bit on the ends just for now, so I have something to kind of hold on to. I have both sides trimmed. Now, Oh, and one more thing too, when you're spray painting your zipper, make sure you open it so that the paint doesn't dry with it closed and you can't get your zipper undone. I've done that too. So now that I got it trimmed, and you'll see you'll have like a few little straggly pieces, you can just take an X-Acto knife or scissors and trim them, because until you get it glued in place and stop playing with it, it will fray a little bit. It's not a huge deal. I figure out how far open I want my zipper, and that's where I put it. And I leave it there, right? So I kind of like the look of it being just a little bit more open than closed. So it looks like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that mark that I made, and I'm going to center my zipper. You can see it, that little mark we made with the marker earlier. I'm going to center my zipper with that. So what I mean by that is, and you can draw a line all the way down your cup if it helps, because this is dry erase. I don't have a ruler, but you literally could take a ruler and take your marker and just draw a line all the way down the cup. Just make sure it's dry erase marker and not something that won't come off. I'm going to line the bottom part of my zipper that's closed, right here, with that line. I'm going to line, that's going to be my center. And you also want to make sure, if you look at my cup, remember I said earlier I'm going to be glittering the bottom. See how it's got like this rim, that line there? Because I'm going to glitter all of this, I want my zipper to stop at the glitter. So I want to make sure also that that little metal piece right there, that's the bottom of my zipper, is lined up with that line. All of this below it's going to get cut off. So I line up my bottom of my zipper with that line right there, so that that's where my, and it not only is where my zipper stops, but it looks that way too. So I'm going to line that piece up with my, where I want my zipper to stop. And I'm going to, on the closed piece, I'm going to take my dry erase marker, or you can use a pencil too, because you won't see it unless you're doing like a white cup or something. And I'm trying to do this backwards so you guys can see. I'm going to take the closed part to my zipper, and I'm going to take my dry erase marker and draw my line. Now, obviously this would be straight if I was laying it down and doing it, but for the sake of teaching you guys, please don't judge me that none of this is straight right now. Make sure it is straight when you lay it down, and just trace along the side of where you want your zipper with your dry erase marker. Then, still trying to hold it in place, you're going to have your pieces here that are going to open up. What I do when I'm laying it down is I take these little clamps. I have little mini clamps. You literally can get them at Home Depot for like, I don't know, 50 cents or something. And I will clamp the tops where I want the zipper to stay in place, so that one, I can draw my line, but I also do this when I glue it so it stays in place. It's like an extra set of fingers. So I don't know which one of my kids stole my mini clips, because they're always in my stuff. But so I'm just going to clip both sides with this other type of clip. So now I look like this. I'm going to take my dry erase marker, and I'm going to trace the outside line of my zipper. And it just gives me a general idea of where the zipper is going. So we have what looks like this. There should only be one line here, but oh, for the love of God. So I just dropped my eraser, but so there should only be one line there. So you have your bottom, which will potentially be straight, and then your V. Now, once you have that marked on the cup, and don't panic if your dry erase marker does not wipe right away, because it dries on the cup with the little eraser. Take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, it won't hurt your cup. So we have our V, and now what we're going to do is we're going to tape off the open part. And I just use blue painter's tape for that. You could use electrical tape, masking tape, whatever you prefer. I use blue tape for everything though, because I feel like I have the least amount of issues with the blue painter's tape when it comes to pulling paint up off my cups, and it seems to be gentle, so that's why I use it. And I'm going to tape along that line that I just drew. At least as close as I can. Remember, it does not have to be 100% exact, like, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'm going to tape a little bit off the line just so I can show you guys what I'm going by. So that I drew that V on my cup, right? And I just took some painter's tape along each side that I drew on the outside of the line. I leave the line on the inside of my tape. I just feel like I get more accurate when I put down my glitter to where I want that edge of the zipper to be. Again, it's preference. Now that I got this taped, I'm going to apply my glitter. And this is where you would, it doesn't matter if you use Mod Podge, it doesn't matter if you use Loctite. I prefer the Loctite method. I've done the Mod Podge, I've done various different ways. Ever since I discovered the Loctite way, I just haven't gone back. It's just basic Loctite adhesive. You can get it at Walmart. I've even heard now people are using hairspray. I have not tried that method yet. I cannot give you my opinion on it because I don't know how well it works, but that seems to be the new thing going around, that you can apply glitter with hairspray, which is cool because hairspray, if it does work, hairspray is even totally cheaper than Loctite, which is cheaper than Mod Podge. The more cost effective we can be when we're selling our cups, the better, because like I was saying before, at least in my area, it's hard to sell a cup for a lot of money. So now what I'm going to do is, damn it, and I didn't grab it either before I sat down, but I will take, just to protect the rest of my cup, outside of my tape on the rest of the cup where I don't want glitter, I will take like a paper towel or wrap something around it and tape over this edge. I hate not having what I need to show you guys, but I was kind of in a rush. Let me see what I got nearby here, just as an example. We're going to use this bubble wrap for now. What I'll do is I'll take something to cover my cup with, and like I'll literally retape this edge along this, and then do the same thing on this side and tape, just to protect everything I don't want glitter on, because if any of you know, glitter is the herpes of the craft world. Once you get it, you can't get rid of it. And I have the hardest time finding speckles of glitter on everything I do, and it drives me nuts. So, just as a thought. Oh, your guys' comments stopped. I'm sorry if I've been ignoring you. They stopped moving. Oh, Ransomville. Nice. Yeah, we're very close to Ransomville. And you are the first person I've met that lived near me that does cups. That's awesome. I don't know why my comments keep stopping. How do I keep spacing consistent top to bottom? Because the cup is larger at the top. I don't have a trick for you. Like I had said before, I really just eye my decals. Some people will use like markers to mark them. What I look for though when I space mine, and you can't, I wish I had a finished cup to show you guys, but like I said, I can't keep them in stock. What I look for though when I'm applying my decals is that the space in between each design is even, and I really just eye that. The other way you could do it is, these are the three pieces that make up the whole Louis Vuitton design, right? They're just repetitive. You can cut them in groups like this of 3 if you're comfortable applying them, because then you can space them accurately when you cut them, and then you only have those couple of spaces in between each piece to space out, if that's easier for you. But generally when I'm making like one of these cups to be sold to go out the door or whatever, that I'm, you know, isn't mine and that I actually care about, like I know like this is for teaching purposes, so it's not that I don't care, but it's okay if this one isn't perfect. I just want you guys to grasp the concept of how it's done. You have to find, I guess, a way that's easiest for you to measure your lines. For me, the easiest is doing it single row, and I eye that space in between. I'll move my tape, you know, like this, whatever. I'll kind of like move my tape around until that space in between the designs looks even to me. Majority of the time it comes out well. Sometimes I get a little too confident, a little too cocky, and my shit comes out crooked as hell, and then I'm mad. I just haven't found a way to measure that seems good for me. So I'm always up to hearing new tips and tricks. So if you guys figure out a really easy way to do this, by all means, please share it with me, because I don't have that answer for you. And I'm just trying to go back through the comments. They stopped moving. I'm sorry. Yes, this is still live. I am going to save the tutorial, and I'm going to post it on the Tumblr's beginner group. I'm also going to post it under my name on YouTube so that you guys can refer back to it. Would it be best to put the zipper on first, then fill in the pattern? You totally could. Again, this was just the way that I started doing it. I don't really know why. If it's easier for you to put on the zipper and then fill in the rest of the cup, that might be a better way to do it. That would totally work. I just haven't done it that way yet, but it makes sense. Again, just taking the concept and finding what works best for you is really the way to go. I just am kind of showing you how it's put together, but however you guys find it easiest to get it done and get it done well, you know, by all means, like, you know, figure out what works for you. Thank you. My Bills hoodie. I know it's sad to admit that I'm a Bills fan right now. Oh, show my cup holder, please. Yeah, sure. I'm actually going to use it for the glitter, so I'm totally going to go get it in a second. It's not pretty, but it works. Yes, I leave the zipper head on until the very end. The pulley part, you mean the zipper pull? Yeah, all of that will stay on. The only thing that we will clip off is the little bit of excess that comes over the top. Yeah, see, I see a couple people in here that say that they put their zipper on first. I might actually try that. I've never done it that way. I'm going to go grab my cup holder. Somebody asked to kind of check out why I put the glitter on. But yeah, by all means, if putting the zipper on first works better for you, go for it. I can tell you one of the reasons I started doing it without doing the zipper first is I'm a little bit OCD in some weird ways. It bothered me when if I don't get these decals on straight and it don't seem like everything lines up evenly, I don't know, it just bothers me. And I don't know if that makes sense, but I think next time I do one, I'm going to try the zipper thing first. That might be a better way to go. Oh, so this was my funky cup holder that I was talking about that I use for applying decals and glitters and anything that I have to push down on the cup so I don't scratch it. I literally just took a pool noodle, I cut the thing in half, I got it at Dollar Tree, and I took some popsicle sticks and glued them to the bottom. And then I just use this to set my cup on so that if I'm pushing down to glue stuff or I'm rubbing decals, I don't scratch my cup on whatever surface I'm laying it on. And I've done that before. So I had to come up with, I seen a couple of different cup holders people were making, and I was like, oh, I can make that, and it worked great. Yes, Carla, my space is very small, and I work like a whirlwind, so I just have stuff everywhere. Like, it's crowded, it's cluttered, but it's an organized mess. I know where everything is, and if anyone were to ever come clean it, I would be shocked. I wouldn't know where anything was. All right, so back to your cup. We taped it off. All I'm going to do right now is just spray the Loctite where I want the glitter. Covering the rest of the cup the best I can because I didn't bring paper towels, but I try to keep whatever I'm not glittering covered because I don't want glitter on the whole dang thing. And especially with Loctite, if you use the Loctite method, you probably know, like, if you spray that, it gets everywhere. My floor will be sticky, my wall will be sticky, like, it's a nightmare. So we're going to cover what we don't want glittered. If you're going to do a lot of Loctite spraying, I suggest taking this outside. It can get kind of stinky. I'm the only one in here right now, so I'm just going to do this right here so I don't have to get up again. And then you can kind of see just that area is Loctited. And I always glitter over paper so I can put my glitter back in the container. I think that's just like a common rule of thumb. I think we all do that. I don't know if you can see. I'm using Recollections in Champagne. And I'm just going to dump it. I kind of hold my cup at an angle so it falls down and kind of helps coat it. I don't know, it's just what I do. And I always do 2 coats of glitter because there's always like some little spaces where you can see, like I'll see the brown through that if I don't do 2. And I just like how 2 looks. Shake off the excess. And then you can see my area's glittered. Like I said, right away, I'll spray it one more time in glitter. You can let it dry in between coats. I generally don't. I do my 2 right away, then I'll let it sit for a while, like a couple hours, and set totally. And then I'll spray it with sealer. Hey, dear.
Hey. Where's the puppy?
Upstairs with Aiden.
Oh, sleeping?
My other half just got home. Sorry, guys. I don't know if he's sleeping.
Oh, sorry.
So there's the second coat. I would let this normally dry, and then I'll seal it with spray sealer, and then I would unwrap it, unless you want your whole cup sealed. You still will find speckles of glitter, but they're loose, like there's no Loctite on the cup, so they just brush right off. Yeah, Carla, I get that complaint in my house too, a lot, that it's smelly. And I don't like paint inside my house, but because we live near Buffalo, it's cold. And sometimes it's cold and hot than cold. So I have to spray stuff outside and bring it right back in, and it's still, the odor tends to bother everybody. So I get that too. So for time's sake, we're going to pretend that this is dry and you've sprayed it with your Krylon clear sealer. Or that's what I use, whatever sealer you use for your glitter. Some people use Mod Podge, that's fine too. By all means, don't change what you're comfortable with for this project because it's all applicable. All of it will work just fine. I would pull the tape off. If you see any marker left from your dry erase marker, you can either apply the zipper and then wipe it off, or wipe it off then apply the zipper, but you can see it gives you that nice clean line, right? So now I'll put this away later. I got Christmas ornaments and everything stacked up. Now at this point I would start getting ready to apply my zipper. So I've sprayed it. I have it set to where I wanted it. We lined it up. And you're just going to kind of lay it where, I don't know if you guys can see me. I'll try to turn this a little bit. Around the edge of the glitter. This has not been opened yet, so I just need to open it real quick.
Come on, help outside.
And it's 2 parts, so I take these little scrap pieces of cardboard and you got to mix it together to use it. You only need a tiny bit. It's not like regular epoxy where if the parts are not even, it's not going to hold. It's not like that. It'll work fine. Joanna, I just got these basic 7-inch dollar zippers from Walmart in the sewing section. I'm sure you can get them at a craft store. Like I've been to, like we have Hobby Lobby and Michael's and all of that stuff around here, and they actually have a much bigger selection of zippers. Like if you want something cool and fancy, I'd go check them out. I just wanted a basic gold zipper, and I knew that they didn't have it, so I knew I was going to spray paint it. And so that's why I went with that. But the craft store's got some really cool different stuff. So when I apply this, for me the easiest way is I start with this closed bottom part. That's the back side. And remember, I want it to end here with the rim of my cup that I'm also going to glitter. And I do that last just because once everything's in place, I want everything to be nice and flush and coated, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want there to be gaps in my glitter, so I glitter the bottom of this very last. So this little metal piece is I want to end at that line that you can kind of see on the bottom. So I'm going to trim that off before I glue this. And I glue from my bottom up. And the reason that is because when I can get this to kind of start drying and hold in place, I have clamps that hold these other two pieces up top, which I'll show you guys. So it's easier to try to keep everything in place when this is already starting to dry and I have clamps for the top. You could put a rubber band or something around the bottom. That works too. I've done that for different projects. You know, again, whatever works. This is just how I chose to do it. So I'm just going to take and apply my glue to the whole back of the part that's closed. And also the back of the zipper head, the big metal piece there. You're going to glue that too. And start putting everything in place. I'm using 2-part 5-minute Loctite epoxy. Get it at Walmart in the glue section where the hardware and spray paint is. E6000 will work. We mentioned that earlier, you know, something along those lines, even maybe basic super glue. I went with this because I know it holds super strong and it also dries really quick. A couple of minutes and you're good. Now, I'm going to give this a minute or two to start holding so that it's not sliding around on me while I'm trying to glue the other parts of it. And when this is all done and my zipper's glued, I'll seal my glitter, I'll do my bottom, I will pull off the unstraight decals, and I will actually end up finishing this cup. But for time's sake, I just kind of went through the process for you guys. But I'll finish this one too, and I'll definitely post it. And I want to see everybody else's cups too. I'm excited to see somebody's first Louis Vuitton cups. Yeah, E6000 will work. Anything like that works good. You're welcome, Melanie. I hope it was helpful. I feel sometimes like I try to do things thoroughly, but like being conscious of time. So I hope you guys at least got the concept, which is what my focus was, not so much finishing this whole cup, because to be realistic, this cup would take a little bit longer than we're going to sit here and do. But I want you guys to have the concept down. I didn't want to break it up into parts and make you guys wait to figure out how to finish it. I didn't want to also, you know, make you guys sit here for 3 hours to figure it out. I just want you guys to get the idea, because I'm pretty sure from the artwork I see every day, you guys can really like fill in the gaps. Like, you guys understand what I'm trying to say, right? I would hope. But also, I always tell everybody, please inbox me with any questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. If anybody is kind of confused because they did not see the original cup that I posted, and because I don't have a finished one here to use as an example, by all means ask me to send it to you. I promise you it turned out way nicer than what this one's kind of half done right now looking like. But again, my focus is the concept, not the finished product, because we'd be here for a very long time. Alright, so I got this bottom part. It's finally starting to stay in place. It's not moving anymore. I will also put a little dab of glue underneath this when everything is in place, because if you put this on the turner and try to epoxy it and this is not glued down, you could possibly end up with your zipper head epoxied like straight up in the air, and that's not really what we want. So oh, you're welcome, Sherry. I'm glad it was helpful, and I hope so. I love actually doing lives, and I love teaching you guys how to do stuff. I don't agree with the whole, like, I'm not going to tell you my secrets, because you know what? I wouldn't know what I know if it wasn't for every single person that's a part of your group or this group. And all the other women who helped me learn along the way. So, like, I feel kind of obligated to give back and, like, you know, share the information that I've learned along the way with everybody else. So now you can dab little spots of glue along this. I'm just putting it on the back, but normally, like, I do little bits just so I don't get overflow on the sides, because you don't want to, you know, a bunch of glue hanging out. But I will get glue on this side, and then I will clamp this in place. You want it to be a little bit tight, you know, so it's taut. You don't want it to be saggy looking or whatever. So it kind of looks like this. See how it follows my glitter line. And this will hold it in place till it dries. And then as it dries, I will, like, kind of push this down and just make sure everything stays in place. How many layers of epoxy does it take? Well, I do too. But it's not going to be perfectly flat, smooth, like, you know, the outside of this cup is now. The zipper's still going to stick out. I like the dimensional look. I'm really big into the 3D cups right now. So I don't aim for my zipper to be totally smooth underneath a bunch of epoxy. If that's what you're looking for, it's going to be a lot. Probably, you know, 5 coats maybe, if you really don't want that zipper to stick out at all. I like that it sticks out. I do 2 coats. And that seems good for me. That seems good for the people who have ordered them. They like that 3-dimensional look. So it'll just basically determine what you're looking for in the result, you know, in the end result of your cup. I'm going to glue this other side real quick. Do the same thing. You just want to run it flush to the edge of your glitter. And I'm going to clip this side. And then once I get it clipped flush, I'll go and I will just kind of push this up against my glitter, make sure everything's flush and where I want it. You know, if I see any little bits of glue, I try to get those off. They're not a huge deal though, honestly, because when you fill in your decals, you're gonna butt your decal right up to that zipper and trim it. So you're not gonna see it anyway. But can you use the printable zippers? I'm sorry, I missed that. Holly, is there a copyright issue with Louis Vuitton? If you're selling them online, if you're posting them in your store, yes, it's protected by copyright. I have seen some places allow you to post them if you word them, like, for example, I seen some Coach tumblers posted on Etsy, and the way they worded it was Coach inspired tumbler. I don't suggest selling them online. Like, I will sell these to friends and family or people outside of, like, my online store, because I have a website and an Etsy page and all that. I don't recommend putting these on places like Etsy and stuff, because yes, you can get in trouble for copyright infringement. I've seen people get booted off of Etsy for a period of time for infringement. There's definitely some legal issues with trying to openly sell, like, a cup with Louis Vuitton's logo. Like I said, I won't post these in my store. I'll post them on Facebook. People know I make them, but I won't put them anywhere publicly that could, you know, get me in trouble. I mean, they're beautiful cups. I love the idea. This was not my original idea. I saw somebody else do something similar, which is why I don't mind sharing it with you guys. And so I love to make them, but I ain't trying to get fined up the wazoo either. Printable zipper. Yes, I've seen some, and if you search the group or you search like on Pinterest, people have done the vinyl cutout zippers. If you prefer something that's flat or you think this is too bulky looking, by all means, I've seen the vinyl zipper done, and some people have done it in like a gold metallic vinyl. It actually looked really cool. I'm just really into the 3D look right now, so I prefer the 3D zipper. So this is what we have so far. We got our zipper attached. Remember, I'm going to, glitter this part. I'm going to let all of this sit. In real world time, I would let this dry about half hour. It's 5-minute epoxy, but I want to make sure that it's really set and solid. I want to make sure no parts lift. So I want to, sit here and I'm going to push them down for a little bit till everything stops popping up. Once this is dry, then what I'm going to do, when I talked about filling in your decals, I'm going to go back to the back side of my tumbler and start filling in the rest of the design. And as somebody mentioned before, you could probably put this on very first thing and fill in the rest after. That would probably work just fine too. This is just the way I started doing it. I'm going to finish filling my design in, right? I'm still going to continue putting my decals on straight up and down, all the way around. Now, I'm still going to even do that when I get here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these decals off anyway, so I can show you as an example of what I mean. When you get to these slanted parts, I'm still going to make it straight with the rest of my cup, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my finger along the zipper so I can see where the line is. And that piece of glue is still wet, which is another reason you want to let this dry, because now I got glue on my vinyl. But this will look like a whole different cup when I finish it. However, for the concept and educational sake, we're going to rush time a little bit. So when I get to these slanted parts, I'm still going to run my decal up and down, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut the tops of my decals that hit my zipper, if that makes sense. So your rows are going to get shorter and shorter, but they're still going to be up and down, and you're going to like take this part, every piece that hits the zipper, you're just going to trim it off, if that makes sense. I don't know why these keep stopping. Sorry, guys. And yes, the vinyl zipper does not have, obviously, the same effect as a 3-dimensional zipper. It still looks pretty cool, though. Could you decal the whole cup first and then do the glitter over it and then add the zipper? Yeah, you totally could. Because no matter what order you do it in, as long as the zipper sits over it, you're going to get the same look. So I could have decaled my whole cup first, then did the zipper, then did the glitter, and it would still look the same as it does. And you wouldn't have to trim your decals. You know what I mean? You'd be covering up some of the decal here that you're going to lay down like you wouldn't see. So, I mean, if, you don't care that you're applying that little bit of extra decal and then glittering over it, by all means, find the way that works the best for you. Whatever process or whatever method gives you the most beautiful result, go with that. This is just a concept of how it's done. Definitely find your own way to do it. I know I did. I do it differently than the lady that I saw do it. It just go with what works for you. Andrew, yeah, Etsy, eBay, all of those places will. I used to make custom charms. They're kind of like the photo charms, like the little, I don't know if you guys remember the square, teeny tiny little bracelets, and they link together, and each little square had a tiny little picture on it. I made those custom charms when they first came out, and I had the same issue with eBay. They slammed me for infringement because I made a Starbucks charm and didn't let me back on for a long, long time. And at that time, I had really no concept of how the infringement copyright stuff worked. I think I was like 19 years old maybe. So it is serious. You will lose your accounts and whatever online stores you have, and if you continue to do it, it becomes a huge issue. You could probably end up in court for it, I'm sure. So just be careful if you're posting anything online. Okay, so I just want to make sure I caught up on the comments. So this is where we're at. Do you guys have any questions at this point? Like, if I lost anybody, if I totally confused anybody, are you guys getting the concept of what I'm trying to explain to you guys? Is it worth it to sell on Etsy? Honestly, so I have an Etsy shop. I also have a website. During the holidays, like right now, my Etsy is super hopping. Off the holidays, it's not really super worth it because I make a majority of my money off of Facebook, word of mouth. I give a lot of stuff out for gifts. Everybody who has an event gets a cup for a gift. I've even had friends, I have some close friends that I gave them free cups, and their job in return for the free cup was to show every single person they came in contact with that cup and where they got it from. And that worked better than any of my online stuff put together. What color glitter will I use on the bottom? The same one that I used. Sorry, I just want to make sure I didn't miss nobody's questions. I'm going to use the same stuff on the same color gold on the bottom, the Recollection of Champagne that I used up here. So they match. Again, you don't have to do that. Listen, you don't even have to do the Louis Vuitton cup in the classic colors. You can do it pink and gold. You can do it whatever, black and gold, whatever colors you want. And if you can't find a zipper to match, just spray paint it. It works perfect. Get creative with it. I have not seen anything yet beyond the basic brown and gold Louis Vuitton. So I'm hoping to see after this that you guys grasped the concept and that I taught you well enough, and you will show some like really cool different stuff. I'm sick of seeing the brown and gold. I'm sick of making the brown and gold, but that's all that's been ordered. So I need to start doing some different colors too, like something crazy. Yeah, champagne is up the gold that I used up here, and it's also going to be the gold that I do the rim with. And if you decide to do, if your cup has a bottom or you want to do the rim, I'm going to do the same thing that I did along the zipper. Where this line is, I'm going to trim this, or you could glitter over it too. It doesn't matter. Trim all the way around. I'm going to tape it off. I use blue painter's tape for everything. Some people prefer electrical tape, whatever works for you. I'm going to tape right above this, like this, right above that rim, and I'm going to spray that whole thing, bottom and everything, with Loctite, and then add the same gold glitter that I used up top. I have to fix my decals before I do that though, so I'm not going to do that right now, unless you guys really want to see what it looks like. But you can also look in the photos or in the videos on the beginners page, because the original cup that got you guys to want me to do this tutorial is posted there. And I monogrammed the center. It has a brown M. You can also do that. You can put names in here, letters, initials, whatever you want. You can add stuff in here too, and it looks kind of cool. Yes, Loctite epoxy glue is what I attach the zipper with. Some people are using E600 or 6000, I mean. I'm trying to, you're backwards, so I'm trying to make it. I get this in Walmart at the glue section. The reason I picked this over E6000 was, my preference was because it's super durable, but it also dries a lot faster than E6000. If you're going to use something like E6000 to put your zipper on, you're going to want to not only clamp these top pieces, but find a way to secure the bottom piece of the zipper, whether you put it in like a cup holder, like I have my little makeshift holder right here that I was using earlier. I would lay it like this and don't move it until it's dry so that your zipper doesn't shift, because E6000 does take a little bit longer to dry, but it will work. I'm impatient, so, and I am busy and I have a lot of cups to make, so I don't want to wait the extra few minutes for that for it to dry. Yes, I used a vinyl monogram. So what I did was I got everything on my cup, right? All of this has its Louis Vuitton decals. My bottom is glittered. It's all put together. I put my first coat of epoxy on the whole cup, over the zipper and everything. Then I will put my vinyl monogram on the glitter part and epoxy it one more time. And then I haven't had to do more than 2 coats of epoxy yet. That's pretty much where I stop. As long as everything looks good, there's no, you know, no flaws or anything, then at that point it would go to its home. Yeah, and I will post this also on YouTube under my name. It's on there under Shannon Swatlowski. If you don't know how to spell it, you can just check on Facebook. It's pretty long. But I will post it on there with my fishing lure one so you guys can find it. And I will also post it in the beginners group. And I'll probably post it in the other groups too, because I know a lot of people from the other groups wanted to see it. However, you can't invite more than like too many groups at a time. You go to like Facebook jail or something, I've heard. I don't know. So, but yeah, so this will be available probably as soon as we're done here in the next few minutes. I'm going to upload it so you guys can find it and refer back to it. I hope it was helpful. I mean, at this point, that's pretty much where what I would do. Like, I would finish filling in my vinyl strips all the way around. I would glitter my bottom, take my clamps off, and then I'm ready for epoxy. So it's not super hard at all. With this one, obviously, to finish it, I'm going to pull my decals off. I got to touch up the paint, get some glitter off of it, because I was going super fast just to, like I said, deliver the concept. But to actually finish this, like the one that I posted, it would take a lot longer, and I didn't want to kill you guys, but I wanted you to understand how it was done. So I'll do a little work to this one, finish it up, and then I'll post it as the cut from the live so you guys can see what I was talking about. I'm sorry I don't have a finished one to show you guys. Like I said, I can't keep them in stock. And I still have 3 more to make. So, yeah. Do you guys have any questions? You're very welcome, Diane. Do you guys have any questions? Did I confuse anybody, or you feel like I left anything out? Heat dryer with E6000. Yeah, that would probably work. Or like I'm sitting right here, you can't see it, but I have like a little mini space heater that I use to speed up dry time for different stuff, like my molding compound I use for 3D stuff, different types of glues and coatings. Heat gun, a little space heater probably would definitely help speed up the time, and it would hold just as well. Like I said, the only reason I didn't choose E6000 for this, and I do have some right here, I do use it, was just the dry time was faster for the Loctite epoxy. The decal in the files. No, I did not post the LV decal yet in the files. What I did was I just Googled Louis Vuitton SVG, and like a very simple black and white design showed up, and I just uploaded it into Design Space and made it. I did a live right before, at 7 o'clock, right before this started at 8, that walked you through the whole process from finding the SVG on Google all the way to cutting. I did that for some people who wanted the decals to follow along with this live now. So if you search, it's posted in the group, in the Tumbler Beginners group. You should be able to find that. Ooh, almost dropped my cup. And, but I just Googled it and then pulled it into Design Space. Can I send you the SVG that I made? Yes, I'd be happy to do that. I just got to figure out how, because I had an issue before trying to send the fishing lure file to people. I ended up having to send it through Messenger because it would not let me send the SVG. So I can send you what I have and see if it works for you. Just shoot me an inbox, or I can post it in the group. You guys are very welcome. I hope that it was helpful for you. Does the epoxy hang up on the zipper? No, the zipper will stay 3-dimensional, and check in the photos in the Tumbler group and you'll see the one that I finished. It will stay raised like this, but I glue this top part down, and I just go over the whole thing and it looks like any other epoxy cup, except, yeah, you will have a raised, obviously it'll be a little bit raised over the zipper. You could probably apply enough epoxy to make it smooth. It'd take a lot, but I like the 3D look, so I didn't do that. Yes, I did have a monogram on the last one that I did. It was a brown letter M. It was a gift for somebody. I posted it prior to epoxy, which was also prior to the decal, and then as when the whole thing was finished, I posted the whole the finished with the monogram decal, along with the video of the pre-epoxy, like side by side. So if you look in the photos or the video part of the group, it should be in there. You're very welcome, Rebecca and Lisa and everybody else. I hope, like I said, it was helpful. Where can you find the logo? The LV logo, like I said, I just Googled Louis Vuitton SVG. Do you guys have any other, what kind of zipper and where do I get them? Just a $1 zipper from the sewing section in Walmart. They literally cost $1. And I just spray paint it whatever color I want to use. A clear cup? You probably could. I can't see why not. If you're going to paint it anyways, or if you want it to look clear and just put the Louis Vuitton decal over the clear, that'd probably be pretty cool, actually. You literally can use any cup you want. You could use 10 ounce, 20 ounce, 30 ounce. The only thing that's going to change between the type of cup that you use is obviously the size of your zipper, like how you cut it. The size of your decals maybe. But really you can apply the same concept to a water bottle, a canteen, a flask. It's just a matter of, you know, make an adjustment for the different shape or different size. The spacing of the decals, Nina, I'm really no help in that area only because I eye mine. Like I was saying before, an easier way to do it is when you cut these and weed them to put them on, maybe applying them, because this is the whole design to Louis Vuitton. I don't know if you guys notice that, but it's these three just repetitively makes up their design. So if you apply it in groups of 3 like this, or if you can do it successfully, bigger groups, it might be easier to keep the spacing equal, but all I do is I look down the cup as I put them on and just eye the space in between. I know it doesn't look that way now from the mess that I have in my hand, but more times than not, I'm good just eyeing the space because I know the size of the cup changes from top to bottom. I just make sure that space looks even, and more times than not, it comes out looking good. At least to my eyes and the new owner's eyes, and they're happy with it. So that's how I've been doing it. You ladies are very welcome. I don't know if I missed any of your all's questions, but if you guys don't have any more questions, then that's about it. And yes, I can post the SVG for you guys in the group. Also, I'll post the live so that you guys can refer back to it, or if you got here late and missed it. If you have questions, inbox me. I'm always happy to answer questions, or if there's something that, you know, I wasn't clear on or whatever, definitely feel free to reach out. Other than that, though, that's really all there is. I'm going to finish this one up, and then when it's all done and cleaned up, I will show you guys the result. And the first one I did, you guys can find in the picture section of the group. Actually, no, that's bigger than what we cut for the first live when we cut the LV decals, Nina. We did a 1/2 inch wide, but see, now remember, I did the single strips. I sized each single strip and then welded them together. Each of these strips is a 1/2 inch wide by 5.5 inches tall. And the reason I did them individually like that, and it explains it in the first live I did before this one tonight, was because I was able to size them a whole lot easier than just trying to size a group. So, yeah, look for the live I did earlier. It's posted, and it'll kind of break that down for you. And it's easier to determine that way the size of the decal. Do you need a program to open a SVG? To be honest, I don't know. I've never tried to open one outside of Cricut. I know there's some apps you can download on your phone that you can make SVGs with that people have been using. I'm not sure exactly what they are. You could probably Google that information, or somebody on the group might know. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. Yeah, really. I've only opened mine in Design Space, so I'm not 100% on that. So, all right, ladies, I'm going to finish this up, and I hope y'all have a good night. And again, inbox me if you have any questions or anything like that, and I will be sure to post this so you guys can refer back to it. You're welcome, ladies. Have a good one.